with me titling this stream Insane Asylum and Mental Health Talk, my goal and purpose of it is to draw interaction, because me just sitting and telling stories about that stuff to no interaction and just drawing on my own stories for that may be a little difficult. But once I have the community to bounce questions off of, bounce ideas off of, and interact with people about those stories and those different experiences, it will be much easier to just flow naturally and talk about that sort of stuff compared to sitting here and talking to one viewer about these topics. But that's why I don't think it's lame. I think it's smart, but I'm going to use ChatGPT to give me topic ideas for now, just to get the ball rolling. I think that will be very helpful. So we're going to do that. Let's go to ChatGPT and see. Give me some topic starters. Do. Is there a way to hide how many viewers you have? Play. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like there's a way. So I guess a good way to go about this would be using the stream as if it's like a YouTube video that I'm sitting down and just essentially creating a YouTube video, although I'm doing it live, that maybe later I can cut and use and paste and post in actual videos. But essentially now, starting out with nobody viewing or watching, I'll use it as a training ground of speaking. Okay, so here's some questions. Mental health and insane asylum questions, live discussion. What emotions do you still carry from your time inside a psych ward? Fear, anger, confusion, gratitude. Okay, I don't know what obviously there'd be gratitude, I guess. I was gonna say I don't know what gratitude I would have, but in a time of confusion and a place like that, being grateful for the people who work there and try to help you, even in certain circumstances. It may not feel like the nurses, the doctors, those around you, potentially even your family members, it may feel that they aren't helping you and they are actually going against what is, you may see, your best interest in you getting out of there at any means necessary. But sometimes you don't have the best viewpoint on what's actually going on, and you may not be at your normal baseline. even though you may feel that you're normal, or normal, I don't know if that's a great word for it, but to be grateful for the people around you in those circumstances trying to help is it's good to keep in mind that those especially your family members who have to go into a hospital and see potentially a loved one in a very bad situation, that maybe it's their son, their partner, their brother, sister, whoever, that can't leave this place that maybe they don't want to be in. That's tough for the family members. So it's definitely important to stay grateful for those around you. And what other emotions I would say I felt being in a psych ward? Anger, for sure. I mean, when you are placed somewhere that you aren't allowed to leave, no matter what, and it is solely based upon a doctor's decision and a doctor's judgment for your freedom, it's kind of a scary situation to be in, because essentially your fate and your destiny is in someone else's hands for however long that may end up being. So it can be scary, can be very frustrating. So a lot of anger can come out of these situations, because again, if you think you're fine, you think you're healthy, and for whatever reason a doctor, maybe it may be due to the parents' influence and the parents' words telling a doctor that their kid potentially isn't ready to leave, well, then you're just in the hands of that doctor and your family members' opinions until whoever or however long it takes for them to say you're good to go, to say you're free. But I recall different times, because I'm a very open and honest person when it comes to mental health stories and psychiatric troubles. I'm not shy of it, and I'm not embarrassed of it. Personally, I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. I think it makes for interesting stories. Obviously, that will differ between a lot of people. Some people may be embarrassed of those stories and those situations. But me personally, I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. I think the things that my mind did inside of those walls, and I guess you could say like the delusions and the different spiritual connections of psychosis, I think it's extremely fascinating, and it has given me a lot of opportunities to look into these subjects and learn more and more about these different subjects. And if I can take what I've learned from all of that and go and share it with the world and share it with you guys, and hopefully share it with younger people and potentially make it easier for younger people that may have to go through similar situations, I think that's a net positive from my experiences, and I don't see why I wouldn't do that. So I don't think there's any shame in mental health problems or insane asylums. I personally prefer using insane asylums over psychiatric wards, just due to the rawness of it. It's a little more intense. It's a little more captivating when you say my stories and my experiences from the insane asylum compared to my struggles from the psychiatric ward. But not long ago, that's what they were called. They were insane asylums up until, I don't even know, what, the 70s, the 80s, is people went to the insane asylums. They didn't go to psych wards. But yeah, I think I'm just going to keep going through these questions and kind of do like my own Q&A until, I don't know how. Yeah, I think I'll just do my own Q&A that I made, and yeah, do like a YouTube style video. let's see. If you could speak to the doctor or nurse who treated you back then, what would you say now? Do you think madness can sometimes be misunderstood genius, trauma, or spiritual awakening? Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Do I think madness can sometimes be misunderstood genius, trauma, or spiritual awakening? I definitely think madness can be those for sure, in the sense that great things can come of people essentially losing their minds and going into very sleep deprived states for days and days, and the potential output and outcomes of art and writing and music and whatever literature, speaking, that can come out of madness. There's potential for really cool and interesting things to come out of it. Like, for example, I don't know what the specific example was, but I know, like, I've heard stories about, like, people writing Bibles and long books in a matter of, like, days, being manic. And so, even though it may be an unhealthy thing in the eyes of a lot of people, it's also a very, I would say, like, unique and special ability that allows you to do certain things from this madness. And the spiritual awakening part is very interesting, because the one time, so I've gone through psychosis multiple times, and the one time, it was leading up until the hospitalization. It was very, very, very spiritual, in the sense that I stopped using all technology. I stopped using my phone. I stopped carrying my phone around. And late at night, I'd go for walks, and there was this, like, deep connection to nature in a way that I've never experienced or felt before, in the sense that I wanted and I needed to be in nature. I had this thing that I wanted to touch trees, which is kind of weird, whatever. But, and even in hospital, in this state of, not confusion, I guess confusion would be a word for it, in this kind of state of confusion, delusion, there was just this, like, very strong calling to God, which I've never experienced before. And I know a lot of people talk about psychosis and different altered states of madness, whatever, being like spiritual awakenings. There was also this guy I met in the hospital one time, and he just read the Bible constantly, day after day after day, and he would just chant out verses and chant out, Jesus Christ, Jesus, like, and he's just, it's very interesting. And I've always thought that the psych ward is a very spiritual place. It's a very, very holy and spiritual place. And I think that because of all of the people throughout time and throughout history that have gone to insane asylums, that have gone to psychiatric wards, and that have been tortured and mistreated. So I think it's just like, I have this theory of, like, it's just like trapped souls. It's people that have been eternally trapped in hospitals for being born the way they were born. and ending up in these places. But yeah, I think hospitals can be very spiritual and very, very holy places. I definitely do. Historical and systematic discussion. Why did we shift from locking people to medicate on? Okay, here's a good question. Why do we shift from locking people away to medicating them? Is it really progress? I would say yes, it's definitely progress. In the sense that if people get medicated, they can be reintroduced into society. They can conform in some ways to a normal life instead of being locked away as they would have been in the past. They would have been locked away for most of their lives, if not all of their lives, for certain conditions and certain potential outbursts. Is it really progress? Yeah, medication is definitely progress. But one thing with the whole medication aspect of medicating people is that I don't believe doctors are willing to take chances enough in terms of lowering people's medications. So what I mean by that is they'll get patients medicated up into a certain point that they're no longer showing these symptoms or showing negative effects of whatever. So then now that person is medicated up to this point, but that person now isn't experiencing life in the world how they should be optimally. They're not as connected to their family and friends emotionally. They're not as passionate, and they don't get as much joy and enjoyment and fulfillment from a lot of the things they potentially used to. And that's due to being overly medicated. So with them, the patient would have to figure that out by themselves probably, and take that information to the doctor. The doctor isn't likely willing to lower those medications back due to the potential relapse from whatever has happened before. So these people essentially get medicated up into a point, and then they just get stuck in this zone of over-medicated, and they never take the chance to go backwards and lower dosage of medications for a better, more enjoyable life. And I think it's sad. And I think there are a few reasons why that happens. One, I don't think doctors want to have that on their conscience. Because if doctors are going up to with every patient, every client, and they're just reducing their medication, that person ends up sick again, it's kind of on the doctor in a way. So if the doctor gets a patient to a somewhat optimum level of medication, that they're steady, they're stable, well, in a doctor's eyes, why would they want to take a chance to see a person end up sick potentially? Which makes a lot of sense. Which I've personally had this problem that, and it was so frustrating because I felt like I was very alone in the conversation. I would go into a doctor time after time and explain to them like, oh, I don't really enjoy the world. I don't really enjoy things as much as I used to. And I don't really enjoy listening to music anymore. I don't enjoy doing the hobbies I used to, or being around friends and family. I don't feel the emotional connection to my family as much as maybe I did in the past, which I would say those are very severe, problematic things. But I never felt that the doctor was willing to take the chance to lower a medication potentially just due to potential relapse. But for me, I was more than willing to risk lowering a medication and relapsing, whatever, just to feel the love and joy and passion for life again. Because being overly medicated and dulled into a state that you don't feel joy, you don't feel passion, you don't feel love, excitement for your current life and the future, it's an awful place to be. And especially if essentially the only person in the world, the doctor, who can help you, who is the most qualified to help you, isn't willing, you almost feel like you're on your own in that situation. But what can you do? You can take the chance. And essentially, I came to the conclusion that with a doctor is I have to go into a doctor and tell them what I want to do and what we're going to do, and say, I hope you join me in this process, and I hope we can work together in the best way possible for the best outcome together. But I had to get rid of the idea of going into a doctor and just letting them dictate what was going to happen, because after months and months of doing the same thing and no better outcome happening for me, it was the realization that I had to go and dictate what I wanted to happen, that something would change. Because at the end of the day, doctors deal with so many different clients and patients that if they can stick to what works for 20 of their other patients and then apply that to you, they're going to do that. It makes their life easier, it makes their job easier. It's probably what they've been taught to do. So why wouldn't they just continuously mass apply the medications, the procedures, the same that they've done for everyone else? And with knowing that knowledge, you need to go in and say, no, I want this to happen, I want this to happen, because these negative things have been happening and nothing's changed. So it's kind of on you, in a sense, to take that responsibility and pursue what you want to get done. This is interesting. Feels weird. It feels weird streaming. It feels weirder streaming to almost no one, essentially. I mean, it's good practice to sit and try and riff and talk for hours to a camera. I mean, it's definitely good practice. I don't think I'm terrible at it by any means. There's room for improvement, but the aspects of trying humor and to be funny and humorous while sitting in front of a camera is hard, because there's no input, or there's no feedback. So the lack of, because if you're around people, obviously in a social interaction, you get immediate feedback from who's ever around you, whether that's just subtle cues of their face, whether it's actual verbal cues. But here, sitting like this, there's nothing coming back at me. So it's super interesting. Historical and systematic discussion. How do you think the old insane asylum of the past compared to modern psychiatric? Okay, I like this. Do labels like bipolar or schizophrenia help people or trap them? I think, and I've talked about this before in other videos I've done, but I think labels are ultimately detrimental. If there was like a net negative and a net positive between labeling someone after someone gets hospitalized or goes through an episode of whatever, and then they end up having to be labeled with something, I think it's extremely detrimental. And I've battled with this for a long time because obviously I have one. Not that I'm going to say what it is, because I think the more that you, especially if you say to yourself, like, it's like speaking negatively about yourself. If you say like, oh, I'm an idiot or I'm dumb, if you tell yourself that enough times, I believe on part of you, and subconsciously part of you believes that. So I think giving power to these terms and these words kind of lessens people and lowers the standard of which these people are on. Because say I take a group of people, just you take your normal group of people that just live their lives, and then you take your group of people that have gone through mental health crises, mental health crises. I don't know. But take these people that have gone through these experiences and you label them with the schizophrenic, the bipolars, the multiple mood disorders, the split personalities, the whatever. Okay? So now you have your normal people, and you have these people with these labels. You've automatically taken this group of people and put them in a subcategory of people that is essentially lesser than and below this group of people. Because if these people are the normal people, and these people are the people that have been labeled with these labels of schizophrenia, bipolar, etc., that come along with negative connotations and very, I would say, crazy, insane labels tied to these clinical labels, well, then this category of people is not on the same level as this category of people. So just initially on that alone, you're dehumanizing a whole subsect of people and putting them below what the normal, I would say, state is as a human. And I've used this example before, but say someone goes through cancer, and they have cancer, they get diagnosed with cancer, whatever. That person can heal from cancer, be in remission for the rest of their lives. That person is no longer considered a cancer patient. They may be considered that they once had cancer, but they don't have cancer continuously for the rest of their lives. Unlike a person who gets labeled with schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, whatever, that person now holds that label for the entirety of their lives. There is no doctor that's going to take away that label. There's nothing that person can do or show that can now take away those labels once they've been placed upon these people. And I think the severity of that and the impact of that isn't really discussed. and isn't well thought through enough, because the impact that may carry with people, and I'm sure it does, is very severe, and probably actually lowers the quality of life that people can. It probably lowers the potential that they can achieve things in their own mind. Because now, if you've been labeled schizophrenic, a lot of people are going to think you're crazy. A lot of people are going to think you're insane. And with those negative implications already on that label, is the rate of you succeeding and the potential for you to succeed in life higher or lower with that? It's obviously lower. Unless you're delusional like me and I get a label and I think, good. This is actually how I frame it in my mind. I say, good. Now I'm different. I'm different than other people around me. I'm different than, call them, normal, non-labeled people. And I have a special ability that my mind sees the world in different ways, that I think in different ways. I interact with people in different ways due to just how my brain composition is. And I actually take that as a benefit, and I use it to my advantage. So that may be a very delusional take and an uncommon thing that I personally do, but that's kind of my approach when it comes to how I view a mental health label. I also think that giving someone a mental health label it's an easy way for them not to be accountable and to dump off their negative problems and maybe certain life situations and blame on that label instead of taking full responsibility and accountability for their actions. So, say I do something or my behavior is a certain way, I can then proceed to say, oh, you know what? It's just because I have this mental health disorder that I'm acting this way or behaving this way. So therefore, I'm just putting off my actions onto this label instead of potentially owning up and taking full responsibility for those actions is kind of how I look at that in a sense. And there's also, with these labels being lifelong labels, is that think about the money. Think about the money in that. So once you go and see a doctor and they go, okay, you're depressed or you got anxiety and you're on these pills now, they will keep you on those pills until the day you're 6 feet under. Until, maybe even then they'll keep prescribing them, okay? Maybe even then. They'll just pass them on, the family lineage. They'll keep them in the blood. Someone else in the family will pick up the pills, okay? But those prescriptions are being sent out until you're dead. Once you've attained that label or one of these labels. So the profit and the money in the industry of labeling people with depression, bipolar, anxiety, schizophrenia it's honestly frightening, and it's a little maniacal in a sense, because I would assume doctors have a what would be the word? What's the word? Not a quota, but like a kickback. I'd assume doctors get kickbacks of labeling people and diagnosing people, because the more people they diagnose with mental health disorders, the more money these industries will make forever, because these are lifelong disorders. These are people that will be on these medications forever. And in the same vein as that, I think there's a lot of that going on when it comes to the whole transgender community. And I haven't really heard anyone take this angle or speak about this angle, but when someone goes in and starts the whole transitioning procedures and the appointments and the medications and everything that goes along with a transition phase, I mean, I would assume all doctors see as money signs, because those are very, very severe and significant procedures. I mean, the aftercare for them must be immense. The medications, I mean, lifelong medications, from hormone blockers to testosterone to all of these different things, are now lifelong prescribed, just the same way that these mental health prescriptions go. So I think some of these industries they're just money-making machines, that they're more in, I mean, and this is the way things have been from the beginning of time, obviously, but they're more interested and fascinated in making the money compared to actually helping out people and helping people's true needs, which is super, super fucked up to think about. And it's super sad and unfortunate that that's kind of how the healthcare system is set up. But I personally think the healthcare system is the most demonic and satanistic, maniacal operation that there is in the world currently, by far. And I think it has been for a very long time. But and obviously the healthcare system does a ton of good, obviously. But in a lot of fields and in a lot of ways, they are profiting off of people's suffering. And it's almost orchestrated and manufactured suffering for people in a lot of ways, for those profits to continue rolling in, which is, I think it's super sad. I think it's super sad, and I don't like it. I don't like it. The white lab coats, they are the monsters. The white lab coats. It's also like, as far as me saying, it's like very demonic, that field. If you look at medicine, they would be the ones that go like, oh, I believe in science. As in, like, people who say, oh, I believe in science over God. I just think it's the most absurd argument ever. And those would be the people that are in the medical fields, because they are the pill-pushing, science-believing, white coat monsters who will chop off any body part you want and prescribe you any pill you want, as long as they get paid at the end of the day. Because they are monsters. With no morals. None. No morals. They have none. Do you think we would have been labeled insane? Okay, here's If you lived 100 years ago, do you think you would have been labeled insane? If I lived 100 years ago with how I am as a person and showed the same things that I have shown in my life, I would have been strapped to a bed in a white straitjacket and lobotomized at the age of 18 is what would have happened to me. And I would have been locked in a institution my entire life if I lived 100 years ago. I would have never seen the sun. I would have been tested on. I would have been tortured. I would have never seen my family. And I would have got an ice pick through my front eye, right here, into my frontal lobe. And I would have been a vegetable. But they don't do that anymore because they can't, and they fucked up. So now I'm here. And we're coming for vengeance. That's what we're coming for. Me, and every single one of the people in the psychiatric world, mental health world, are coming for vengeance against the generations and centuries of mistreatment, abuse, torture, experimentation, and neglect, and everything else that has gone on. That is what we are coming for. We are coming for our vengeance. And we will have it. Okay? That's what this is about. This isn't about pity. This isn't about like, oh, look at me, feel bad for me, I went to a psych ward. Like, no. Nobody gives a shit. It's not that nobody gives a shit, but I don't give a shit about people feeling bad for that. It's life. Things happen. What we're here for is to be strong, is to be intelligent, and to build ways so that shit doesn't continue happening. And to get retribution. To get retribution for the thousands and thousands of people that were tortured and experimented on. That's what drives me. That's what pisses me off, is the people like me and my kin, essentially, that were locked in institutions and medicated out of their minds and strapped to beds and poked and pricked with needles for their entirety of their lives just because they were born a certain way. And these health and hospitals and institutions that stopped that and freed us, well, they probably didn't because of their psychos, but the collective organizations that freed the people from that tyranny fucked up. Because now there are people like me who want retribution. And we're gonna get it. However that looks, however long it takes, that's what's coming. That's what's down the pipeline, okay? What's one thing? What's one thing you think is healthy about madness? Okay. I'd say one thing that I think is really cool about madness and psychosis is that you go into these states for these periods of time, however long it may be, and you see the world in such a different light. And a lot of potentially what you see and experience may appear crazy and delusional to whoever is around you at the time, but it feels so real to you, right? And no one can take away the fact that it felt real to you, what you saw, what you experienced, what you felt in those times. That's a doctor, someone around you calling it delusional, calling it madness. I don't think that changes the realness of how it felt to you. So once you kind of fizzle out of those states and back to a more normal way of being and living, the depth and value that you can draw from those experiences, I think is very, very unique. And especially if you can reflect on it, I kind of look at it as like, because sometimes psychosis is literally hell for some people. I know going through psychosis is very, very frightening and scary to some people. Personally, I thought it was enjoyable in a lot of ways. It was very scary in a lot of ways, but it was also enjoyable. But it's kind of like the worst thing that you've ever been through in your life is the worst thing you've ever been through. And even though it may be like the most scariest, traumatic, whatever thing, there are still lessons and things that you can learn if you are willing to have the nerve and courage to reflect on them and put yourself back in those situations when you've kind of exited back into your normal state. So every time I've gone into altered states of psychosis and mania and whatnot, after I do a lot of reflection and almost like note taking on what I saw, what I thought, how my ideas on the world were different, my ideas, my opinions, my emotions, how they changed from what they normally may be. And I try to integrate all of that into my new view on the world, which is me on the other side of all of that. This is pretty good. Hour talking to one person. I'm going to invite. Let's see. Let's see if these donkeys come and join me. Get the viewers up. I mean, the stream setup looks clean. The quality looks good. Considering this is on a Logitech webcam, the stream quality is excellent. It's very, very clean. I think I'm gonna just continue talking like this for probably another little while, and then I might go and play some Risk after. But I think for now on my streams, I'll probably do this. I'll probably come, sit down, talk for an hour, 2 hours about whatever topics I come up with. And then, I mean, it'll be a lot easier when I have questions of people, of what they're interested in asking. Because then that gives me something to bounce off of compared to me just doing it this way. Do you believe medication can help and harm at the same time? What does... Here, actually, I'm gonna go show my Discord. So, the people looking right now can come join my Discord and see what it's all about. It's like, it's mental health based. So I have all these different sub-threads, poems, journals, paintings. I think I should make rooms that are like voice chat groups. I'm not exactly sure how you do that. I imagine it can't be that hard. I love this photo. Like, does this... Tell me, does this look like an interview room? Does that look like a place you want to be interviewed? It's fucking psychos. Like, how is this an interview room? I actually, when I was here, I took that little piece of paper out of that thing and I wrote on the back of it, interrogation room, and I put it back in. And I bet it still says that to this day. If I had to guess. If I had to guess. But yeah, here's my Discord. If anyone wants to join. How do I create? Add a server, events, text channels. Oh, okay, here's voice channels. Create a voice channel. Hang out together with voice video. New channel. The Psych Ward Lounge. For sure. Oh no, did it create it? No, it didn't. Psych Ward Lounge. Is that how you spell lounge? Nowhere to go. Okay, there it is. Cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool. We got 3 people in here so far. Let's go see what Twitter's up to. Man, I don't even want to go on Twitter. Like, I usually check Twitter once a day, and it just ruins my day. Okay, we're gonna make a prediction here. Within the first 3 minutes of me being on here, I'm gonna see either like some gang fist fight, someone being shot, some Antifa protest. Oh, that's all this app is. Oh, it ruins my day. I don't want to see it. Here we go. Candace. Should we hear what Candace is saying? Candace is off her rocker. Let's hear what she's saying. Let's see what she's saying, though. Let's see what Candace is saying. 1 second. Let me get this sound to my headphones. Okay. Now it should be good.
But I also felt in the dream that it is soon going to be revealed, that it's actually, like I just said, had a vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. And so for me, you don't have to believe that.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Charlie came to her in a dream. Now this girl's telling prophecies about her dreams. There's trap doors. There's Badrit Macron's got a wiener. Now Charlie's talking to her in her dreams.
Writes this. Why did she sit on this for 4 weeks and then censor the other names? Just grasping at straws. Just grasping at straws here. And he followed that up by taking a stab at Charlie Kirk, who's dead. Charlie Kirk said he had no choice to leave the pro-Israel cause because a Jewish donor stopped giving him millions of dollars. What a coincidence. He had his great epiphany about Israel after they stopped paying him to shill. Speaking of paying people to shill, it's why I didn't take 1 minute, or 1 sentence rather, of him trying to eulogize Charlie Kirk seriously, because that right there is the real Nick Fuentes. The quartering jumped in. He says, a serious question. Let's assume the text.
That's enough, Candace.
And you want to do a deal with Canada, why aren't you?
Because I want to be a great man, too. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. That could have been. I think you got that one. That could have been good. Thank you very much.
So then, what's holding things up? If he's a great man and you want to do a deal with Canada, why aren't you?
Because I want to be a great man, too. Thank you very much.
Beta male. That's all this is. Beta. Mark Cuck Carney. Beta. Trump Alpha. Oh man, our prime minister stinks. He's molesting our country for everything we've got. What is this? It's for
that welcomed you. When a protest is deliberately
That's awesome.
suffering for so many people, a day when thousands of lives were
That is awesome. Yo, where did he get this? Crusader costume? For Halloween? Let's go. Who made this? Nick Fuenstein? Nick Fwenberg? With the drip? With the dreidel? "48 still remain hostage, held in Hamas dungeons under Gaza. Too many have moved on with indifference, while others have turned to violence against Canadian Jews, who have become targets of harassment, vandalism, and violence. Conservatives will always stand with Jewish Canadians in the face of rising anti-Semitism. We unequivocally and unanimously condemn the intimidation faced by the Canadian Jewish community and call for the safe release of the remaining hostages. May the memory of those murdered on October 7th be a blessing." Aw, Pierre. That's like the video of Pierre and he's got the yarmulke on. He's like, "I'm just a good goyim from the prayers." Oh. You just teleport? Oh. There's a different videos. Different videos.
Ballistic missiles that are intercontinental ballistic missiles for 8,000 kilometer range. What does that mean? They add another 3,000 kilometers and they've got under their atomic guns, in New York City in target, Washington, Boston, Miami, Mar-a-Lago. Okay? So that is a very great danger. You don't want to be under the nuclear gun of these people who are not necessarily rational and who chant death to America. One is developing now ballistic missiles that are
Like, why?
Ballistic missiles for 8,000.
Why is this guy just like trying to scare Americans about Iran? Like, Israel's in the middle of holding off the Houthis, Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, Hamas, Iran. But you need to warn the Americans who are across an ocean. I don't understand. I don't understand. Make it make sense, Benny.
Just gonna read this. It's on my teleprompter because this is too hard to explain off the cuff, so I wrote it out. This summer's been...
Okay, that's enough Twitter for one day. That's enough Twitter for one day. What is going on?
Fucking goof. Miguel, get over here now!
Call 911, please.
Oh, Lady Gaga
I'm
playing
just
in
filming for you guys' sake, that's all. I'm just trying to buy a sandwich. I'm filming.
Put your fucking camera away!
I know that you need me. Ooh, brings in the dog.
Me, man! Don't fucking
I'm
bite
just-
me, fuck! What the fuck are you doing?
Don't buy me, you fuck. I'm just jamming out to Lady Gaga.
You're attacking the wrong fucking guy, man.
Oh, oh,
She's stealing the cup. She's not a fuck. She...
Fucking boof!
oh. Not the dog toy. La la, ooh la la. Lady Gaga's got some bangers.
Amazing. I would just say, it's amazing. Ready for you.
Oh God.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Shut. It's gonna get me in trouble. He's gonna give me. Okay, let's go. Speaking of Zerka, this is what I know. Zerka's got a lot of. I mean, he does like the dating stuff, and he does some of like this occult whatever stuff. But I used to watch his streams that he would do late at night of him talking about. It was genuine being progressive in terms of becoming better as a individual, and he had a ton of wisdom when it came to that stuff. I don't like when he goes on like the Fresh and Fit and he does like this whatever nonsense and like rage baiting, calling women whores and whatnot. It's kind of silly, but the more burnout you'll get from junk food and unhealthy lifestyle. Become a millionaire and then some girl enters their life. Like, I'll go and I'll see if I can find some of the streams I'm talking about. I doubt it. It's when he has like a black curtain. Okay, I was watching streamers. Now I'm a streamer. Funny how that works, huh? Yeah, okay, it's like when he's in here.
Some days, it's all about convenience. Other days,
I've been like for 5 years they've been asking me in chat, what brand of cigarettes do you smoke? And I never understood that. Like, I've even met smokers who would turn down a certain box. They'd be like, no, that's not what I smoke. And I'm like, what the I thought if my life and in your lives, that kid who buys friendship, do this for you, I can do that for you. It just looks like that, which is kind of sad. It doesn't look like he gets his way with Sneeko. Physical pain, stress, and clears your sinuses. He's drinking lean. That's my...
I don't know. But yeah, he used to do some cool streams. Just sitting and talking about very spiritual, in-depth spiritual stuff. I watch a lot of Risk. I might end this stream and start up a Risk stream for the end of the night. I mean, I do think that was good. That oh boy, Is the hair. I mean, even an hour and 20 minutes straight talking. I do think when I get a little bit more organized on my streams with a plan and a direction of what I want to do and what I want to talk about, it will be a lot easier to stream, obviously, because right now I'm kind of going off the cuff. I haven't yet bought my fake viewers to interact with me. Once I do that, I'll be in the game. The hair. It's been a bad hair day. I've been trying out new hairstyles. The girlfriend, she likes the hair in the front. I don't know how I feel about it. I need it to grow a little longer. It's okay for now, I guess. It's okay for now. But yeah, I think I'm going to end this stream and then join and start up a world domination risk stream. I think that's what my play will be. Okay. Thank you for watching to my few loyal viewers. This is Be My Guest, episode 1 on mental health and insane asylum talks. I will be doing a lot more of these in the future. I do believe I will try to hop on stream every day for the next while. I don't see why I can't stream every day, and especially if I want to build and grow a audience, I need to be on live throwing down, okay? I need to be talking, discussing, sharing opinions, building a community, and building a stronghold for the future of Canada. I don't know. What do you guys think if I put a Canadian flag in the back? Like right there. But not on like a draped, like on a flagpole. Like more like political style. I don't know. Let me go to Google. Like, I don't know. Like, kind of like that. Yeah, like that. Right there in the corner. I think that would look good. And then I also need to get a plant, like a fake plant, to kind of come up into my lion or my tiger elephant corner to make it look like the jungle. And then my set would pretty much be complete. But I think the set looks pretty good right now. Oh wait, you guys can't even see. Like that. Something like that. Yeah, see, I like those. It's a little more subtle, and then rather than like a flag just being plastered across the wall, it's a little bit more subtle. $185, 8 feet. I wonder how the quality of the flag is, though. Because I don't want it to be all wrinkled, and I can probably iron it out, though. 8 feet. Let's see how tall 8 feet goes to. Might be too big. Yeah, 8 feet is too big for there. Because 8 feet will literally go to the ceiling. Huh. Whatever, there'll be more. I'll have to do my shopping. Alright. Thanks for watching. This is officially number 1 of Be My Guest. We'll see you guys on the Risk Games, the Risk channel.